We've got Albino versus Percival. Arguably the most competitive and high-skilled match of the day. Both players are in the lobby. We're going to start off 2 games on the American server, then we do 2 games on the Korean server, and then 1-1-1 if we get there. Albino made it to the finals of Tasteless's tournament earlier today. I was not able to watch those games. I tuned in right when the finals was over. But clearly he is good. I'm ready for this one.
Well, let's see how it is going to go down. Take a quick peek at the decks.
They're waiting.
Oh, yeah, late expands. Yeah, Scorpion. Oh, we're going to see Hornets for the first time from Albino. I was going to say, man, I was going to use these in my deck a little bit later on, and I'm like, I haven't seen anyone else use them. I'm getting a little bit scared that like they're not good anymore or something, but finally someone's using them.
Both players waiting for a little bit, in the end deciding to just expand. We've got Percival, our Korean player, opening up with the Blink. It kind of also has a Scorpion in the mix. That's very odd. I have not really seen that yet. A single Scorpion and a single Blink running to the other side of the map. But besides this, I want to say it's nothing but Blink, but that's not totally true because we've got a few more Scorpions in the mix as well. So he's really going to try to get the advantage by pure micro. Albino already setting up a bit of a concave. We are gaming now, Rotti.
We are gaming. Concave setup. He's going to try and come through and just get the Scorpions into some kind of reach, but the Blinks are going to trade pretty well. They can blink away, of course. This is where the Scorpions are going to get ready to strike just as those workers come online. We are going to be seeing those Scorpions moving in, and it's actually perfect timing as well, considering it's usually like 9 minutes because you insta-expand. They arrive perfectly on time considering the delayed expansion, so that's a great little move on the right side. And now these Blinks probably can't keep trading in the center as much.
Exactly, so the Blinks are going to lose some of their micro potential, while maybe even lose 1 or 2 of them. Well, we've already killed 3 workers. Kind of would have loved to see the Scorpions continue to go for workers there and get 4 or even 5 workers, but overall pretty good by Albino. Albino has gone for tier 2 Foundry, King Crab and Mortar, so on the ground he's going to absolutely dominate, while Percival has gone for tier 2 Starforge. We've got Mammoths and Dragonflies.
You saw how good the Mammoths can be against the Mortars, right? So
yeah,
it's definitely a one thing to be looking for here is we see the Blinks actually blinking up, but the Scorpions are still going to be in reach. We're also fighting on the top side as well. The Blink's starting to get the better end of that trade, so just feel like Percival is starting to maybe net things slightly in his favor, and he will be the first drop down at third as King Crabs are made, and they're just going to go for a straight up push to play denial of that third.
Oh, it's making Dragonflies, but we've already built Blind Hornets, and that's going to be fantastic. I think I like this for Albino. I believe that we can absolutely at least crush this a third base. Great call there on the Hornets, as long as we don't lose them randomly. We should not be able to lose them. The King Crabs do need to make up their mind, though, right? Like, what do we want to battle? Do we want to battle the Blinks? Do we want to go for the base? It's a little bit of everything in the end. It is a very, very close fight, but I think I still like it for Albino. Bare minimum, we kill this base, and then I think we just go home. Kill it.
Yep, and he does get that there. Going to see the unit's going to turn around. Obviously, the Hornets are very, very flimsy, so you need to always make sure there's something in front of them. They're going to have the King Crab Scorpion in front, going to turn around right now. If the Hornets can then just kind of chase and fire, they're going to do a lot of damage, but they're getting a little bit too far ahead for my liking. Scorpions and Blinks are going to start absolutely destroying those, and they're going to cost power as well, so they're not cheap to replace if you do start losing them.
Yeah, I felt like this is not really needed, right? Haven't we already done what we were looking for? And we obviously have pretty decent tech. We could have gone back home, save all of our units, go up to 3 bases. Because now we're just kind of getting kited forever, and this is not a fight that the King Crabs want to be taking. There's no way to trap these units. Blinks go forward one more time. It looked very promising for Albino, but he's been bleeding out a lot of units in the center. He needs something to go his way, and that something, what is going to be a double King Crab run-by.
Yeah, I love it because it's going to be difficult to clean up, and it's just got so much potential to kill so many workers. So, straight to the mineral lines, workers going to take an absolute beating here. Half the mineral line is gone, or the worker line is gone. And yeah, this is massive, especially when you're stuck on 2 bases. Damage like that is just absolutely huge. These King Crabs are a major success.
Fight! No, derpy. Should have just gone for it. I would have liked to see him kill those final 4 workers as well. That would have taken that King Crab literally 0.2 seconds. It was already right where it wanted to be. Very competitive game. Still on 2 bases for both players. It looked great for Albino, then it looked dicey, but it's the King Crab run-by that has really turned things around. And this is also when you have to worry about those run-bys. That's where you just don't really get the value out of those Blinks anymore in the center.
That's very true, as you're going to be seeing the King Crabs and the Scorps coming on forward, continuing to play the chasing game at the moment, heading across to that right-hand side. King Crabs actually coming in for the flank as well. It's coming in from the top. And now we are going to see a pretty big fight from Albino, who I think is just going to have a little bit too much here. Let's see if he can catch all these units properly, but yeah, I mean, it's looking great for him. There's a couple of dragonflies on the other side.
Yeah, that's good though. That means that looking
really
great
good.
is not good enough, right? He needs to do a little bit more than what he's doing so far. But the mammoths are so freaking tanky. I actually kind of think that this Percival is turning this around and is going to have a very good hold on this 2 base against 2 base scenario. And now we have killed a solid, 10 workers with just 2 dragonflies. This was fantastic by Percival. I actually think the tide has once more swung in favor of Percival.
Alright, actually, I'm with you. It's going to be Percival that's pushing across the map. Those blinks finally stopped dying to the king crabs, and obviously the mammoths catching the king crabs and getting them caught up for a long time helps a lot. Gives the blink so much time to deal the damage. So,
mortars.
helps that massively.
Mortars exposed. Blinkers are going to go forward. We're going to get the first mortar. Only a single hit fired of those 2 mortars. Great speed display there by Percival. It's just finding value. Still being a nuisance with this single dragonfly. This has been an incredibly fun and competitive game. And it's starting to look better and better for our Korean player. The highest ranked player that we'll see in action today here. As he is going to lose that final butterfly. But he has already done everything that I want to say he could dream of. I would kind of like to see Percival slow the game down now and go up to 3 bases. I don't think there's any need to still embrace the 2 base against 2 base memes.
No, I think if you take the advantage, you can absolutely just take a 3rd base. I think it's one of the best things you can do in the game. So now we're going to hand a little bit of a fight here where we're going to just about step up the right-hand side to start escaping. There's one king crab coming in from there. Good blink backwards. Get rid of the units on the top, and we're just pulling back into reinforcements. Percival should absolutely be looking golden to take this game number 1, because I just don't think there's enough to really make the difference here on the side of Albino.
Yeah, it might not just end that quickly, because it's still 2 base against 2 base, right? If Percival would have been on 3 bases here, then I'd say you could leave. Obviously, there's going to be a little supply advantage here in the end for Percival, but I don't think there's any need for Albino to just give up yet. I mean, it's 2 base against 2 base. He's down a lot of supply. That's a lot of dragonflies, though. Maybe the dragonflies can seal the deal. Especially because now Albino feels that he needs to build mortars, because he's afraid of losing the ground fight. But he doesn't have to worry about the ground fight. He has to worry about all them dragonflies.
We have a scorpion counterattack around the top. But yeah, these dragonflies are going to fly in. And they should just target down the mortars, because if you get rid of the mortars first, you can really do very well from there. That's just going to pull back and put damage on the units. The other mortars quite far up to the top. Is not really a threat at the moment. Hornets have to be made. They cost power as well, though, and so it's just going to be very difficult to afford enough of them. And Percival is going to wrap up game 1 with a victory.
Can definitely see that this is some high-level video gaming. This was incredibly tense, incredibly close. It looked great for Albino, looked great for Percival, looked great for Albino again. And in the end, it is Percival. I think it's the 2 dragonflies that really turned this game on its head. Those were able to kill like 10 workers or something, put off a fantastic hold in his own natural. And that is what allowed Percival in the end to take the 1-0 lead.
Beautiful stuff, man. Percival bringing it back around in a little bit, and a very intense game. When you get stuck on those 2 base versus 2 bases, that natural line of workers is so important. You cannot let units just fly in there and do so much damage, because you have no backup, right? There's nothing else. There's nothing to kind of fix it. So, yeah, that's a massive moment to just kind of, again, just take note of. People have got to protect these mineral lines or these worker lines. We've seen so many of them in trouble throughout.
But I've also really struggled with, like, I like Hornets. I think they're very cool units, but I mostly like them when I'm having a strong ground army and I'm pushing in the center and I'm just trying to take out the 3rd base and I want some quick anti-air reinforcements. Then I really love Hornets. But I don't love Hornets if I have to bounce between, like, my main, my natural, my 3rd. I feel like they're a bit awkward to defend against air units like that.
Yeah, that's true. They're a little bit rough when it comes to kind of moving between them bases. Trying to see if there's any differences here. I mean, Percival's still on the Mammoth and Dragonfly on the air, and Shocker and Heavy Hunter on the ground.
Not
really.
I mean, I didn't really focus too much on the Foundry attack of Percival last game, but did he have Heavy Hunter Shocker?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's what I'm kind of looking at myself, and I'm like, I don't know if he obviously never came into place. I'm not sure, but we have no mortars anymore. That's worth knowing.
Yep, and then King Crab Destroyer.
Classic OG combo.
I love it. That's very similar to what a lot of other people want. I feel like there's a couple combos that are just married already. It's like King Crab Shocker, Crusader Shocker, Shocker there, Mortar, Destroyer, Crusader. Like, all very, very popular, all very powerful. So far, good play here by Percival as he's going up to 3 bases. I think Albino's gonna stay on just tier 1 tech for a little while and just try to get so many Scorpions that it becomes difficult, even for a world-class RTS player like Percival, to micro perfectly everywhere. Because the Scorpions are pretty tanky, you can have so many of them.
There's also that option of adding just a few Hornets in, and if they just stay in the back, the little bit of DPS they provide is actually quite sizable, so something else to watch for is Blinks getting some cleanups, but it means that a lot of the other Scorpions have made it across the map, and we got to go and figure that out as these Scorpions are diving for naturals.
First of all, just spent a bunch of money, but I didn't see what he spent it on. He is not teching yet. Scorpion's really gonna go for it. This is, if you commit this many Scorpions, you're gonna want at least 12 workers. I think anything less than 12 is not a success here for Albino, but Albino's absolutely gonna get 12. He's even gonna get each and every single one of them, Waddy. And at the same time, we've got Scorpions in the center. This is exactly what I meant. And he's splitting up a couple Scorpions to go into the main base, and he has now decided to tack up. He says King Crab Destroyer is good enough with all this eco damage. And the only thing that Percival will have are shockers. I think Albino is turning this one around. This looks like an amazing start for him.
Yep, it is looking very, very, very good for him. I mean, he just got so much damage done. 2 bases essentially wiped out for the next 60 seconds, and, well, Scorpion still just putting some plays in the center, just chasing down his opponent, about to hit his tech, which is going to be online faster than Percival's as well. He's got more power in the bank, so he can build more tech units straight away too, and even has more Scorpions doing even more damage, Rotti.
I feel like you just spent all your money on King Crabbies here, and then eventually if you run out of power, you just build a few more Scorpions, and maybe even a couple of those Hornets just for a little bit of range damage, like you said. I think this is impossible for Percival. We know that Percival is fantastic in RTS games. He's got great micro, he's got great multitasking, but everywhere I look, I see Scorpions getting on top of workers. And it's not just Scorpions anymore, it's King Crabs. And if King Crabs just get 1 or 2 hits off, all these blinks will disappear.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Wow.
As that's going to be game, and what a comeback from Albino. He just plays a very aggressive game and just absolutely makes it work wonders for himself.
Yep, almost felt that Percival got a tiny bit overeager there, thinking like, oh, I've got the blinks, I can be out on the map, I can get freebies, but eventually, I mean, even if your name is Liquid Clump or your Flash, you're gonna have a hard time microing the blinks perfectly everywhere, because Scorpions are not like Wasp. They actually deal a lot of damage. If you're just a little bit too late somewhere, you're gonna lose workers quickly, or you're gonna lose expensive units like blinks quickly. Just well done. I absolutely loved how Albino played that. I think it makes perfect sense. I'm not saying that Percival can play blinks, but I think you need to be a little more respectful of the power of the Scorpion.
Scorpions are insane, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just see them like run everywhere, all of a sudden you lose track of them and they just start absolutely bopping things. As we're going to swap to Asia, by the way, in case you didn't switch already.
Already done it, man. I'm so on top of it.
Yeah, pretty good on you. You're pretty good.
If I'm loving what I'm doing, Waddy, I'm always on top of it. I've really had so much fun yesterday and so much fun today. I can only say again what I say earlier. I'm really gonna miss it. Hopefully, it won't take them too long to give us some more Battle Aces again. Because I can go a couple weeks without. We obviously got some very exciting stuff in the world of StarCraft 2 to look forward to, and I can't wait for that. But after that, Waddy, I'd love to play some more Battle Aces.
Yeah, I know. Maybe, yeah, I know, you're right. Give it a little bit of time, but let's not have too long without this game, because I think we really do it's just fun. At the end of the day, it's just freaking fun to play.
I mean, I don't have any information that I can share with any of our viewers. I don't know how long the game will be unplayable for us, but if I have it my way, Waddy, I say the 20th of August. Bring it back.
20th of August?
Yeah, 20th of August.
Maybe 21st.
Okay. 21st,
Yeah,
20, both.
20. You know what? Put up 20th, give them all a head start for a day. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I would like. The 20th of August seems like a perfect day to bring the Battle Aces back.
we should make sure to mention on the Discord, you know?
Yeah.
A couple times.
But obviously, I'll be incredibly happy for everybody else if it comes back a bit earlier. But that is a day that I could personally have a lot of peace with. That's some other fun stuff to look forward to. Alright, so I guess everybody is just busy switching, maybe waiting
just discussing how laggy America to Asia is versus like Asia to America, I think.
Okay. Hopefully we
the server on America's West Coast, so it's like it's not so bad for it's not so bad, I guess, for Koreans to play on America, but then if you're East Coast,
yeah,
when you're playing on Korea, it can be like pretty bad. So
that is true.
I think that's what the situation is. Yes, they're just discussing it a little bit, figuring it out.
I think we should at least give one Korean game, and then maybe after this Korean game we could go back to America then. 'Cause I don't know where Albino is in Canada, but let's say it's Toronto or Montreal. Then I still think one Korean game is fair, but then the next game should be on the American server again.
Okay. I mean, I'm just letting them figure it out. So.
Yeah. No, we have no
I have no
insider
strong voice
information, Brando.
Yeah.
We have no idea when the game comes back. We don't know for how long it will be gone, but I hope sooner rather than later.
It's gonna be weird not having it to kind of like whack on after, a bit of StarCraft or like before a StarCraft stream or like before tournament. It's I've gotten used to like casting for 3 or 4 hours, then playing a little bit of Battle Aces after.
I am also very familiar with that, but on the other end, Wardy, if it's just a couple months, and I feel like this was just a great appetizer. Like, I'm hungry for more. I'm so excited to see all the things they can do with different units, more units, maybe skins one day, maybe a different map, proper leaderboards that are built in within the client, right? I don't know. Customization. There's so much fun stuff to look forward to.
Apparently we're gonna go America.
Okay, America all the way?
Yeah, apparently Percival doesn't care.
Alright, what a baller.
Yeah.
I guess we could have decided that before, but...
Yeah, we could. It's just difficult for us to. We don't have good communication to the challenges, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have them making a Discord call with everyone else, or like we've had yesterday. So a little bit more confusing.
Yeah, yesterday we had 16 invites, guys. Today we just had 8 players that we presented to the folks over at Uncut Games, but I didn't think it would be totally fair if I would also be in charge of selecting people within the Discord, because I don't want people to think that we're playing favorites or we give Wardy an easy opponent or myself or anybody. So we just decided to let someone from Uncapped Games pick all the challenges. But that obviously means we don't have them on our friend list and stuff. But does not matter. We are back in our 4th best of 7 of the 8 best of 7s we have today. And we are once more playing a tiny bit of Expand Chicken. And I assume in the end we will both just drop and expand. And that's exactly what we do here. Same setup, Wardy. Scorpions versus Blinks.
Scorpions versus Blinks, Percival. And when you get enough Blinks up, it can be scary, but gotta keep control of those Scorpions. These few Scorpions that just ran the bottom right and just waited, they arrived on the natural at a perfect time. It was just the catalyst to everything going wrong in that second game, and then it was just Scorpions all over the place consistently. It became very difficult for Percival to stay in it, so something he has to be very cautious of going into game number 3.
I think if you only have to worry about 2 worker lines, it's okay to be out and about with your Blinks and try to get some freebies. But I think if it's 3 base against 3 base, that's not really the moment anymore to really be fighting on your opponent's side of the map. Because even if you get a good trade, even if you get a Scorpion or 2, eventually it is impossible to micro your Blinks perfectly everywhere. Apparently Percival says, it's not Rotti, I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do it here. Well, he does have a good read on the tiny Scorpion run by. He's all over it this time around. But I still think it will be very hard for him to get max value out of Blinks defensively and offensively at the same time.
Absolutely agreeing, as we are going to see tech most likely starting soon. Albino actually has the money for that tech if he wants to build, and he does. Percival actually went a little bit more heavy on the units still, so he's not going to be able to tech just yet. So that's a slight advantage to Albino, but it means that Percival has more units to chase around with at the moment, and he's doing pretty well on the bottom, but he's going to be outnumbered up on the top.
But he should know that. He should be able to build a couple. One Blink gets surrounded by 4 Scorpions and it dies. And this is where Albino... I would have loved to see him split off those other Scorpions into the center. That would have made it a tiny bit harder for Percival to defend this perfectly. But Percival is still busy microing in the center of the map. That's nice and all, but he's losing a lot of workers. Wardy, that's already -6. Make it 7. It could very well turn into 8 or even 9. And nope, it's just 7 in the end. 7 is a lot though.
Yeah. It's pretty reasonable as you see the Blinks still moving forward. The Scorpions are going to turn around and they're going to go back onto those Blinks, chase him away. And the Scorpions coming through as well. The Scorpions decided to turn back once again. I just love this group of Scorpions just goes across the map. It's going to go diving for the 3rd. It feels so obvious. It's not even like sneaky. It's kind of still straight through the center, but it's so good and it's effective against, especially against Blinks, which if they're just not in position already, that's very hard for them to scramble back into position.
Yep, that is -4 workers at the 3rd base. Let's take a look how many workers will fall in the natural. We've already lost 4 Scorpions. If they continue to go for workers, they can get a few more. I just think it's the same mistake by Percival. But he does have destroyers this time around, and destroyers absolutely smash king crabs. We do know that. So I feel like this is now going to turn into maybe a weird destroyer war. Albino is really going to have to spend his money. He's got a couple of destroyers. Needs to be careful, because if he loses his king crabs here, his own destroyers would be vulnerable. And if Percival blinks forward on top of them, it could be game over immediately.
Percival has a massive supply advantage right now, and if he just works his way through these king crabs and these destroyers, he's going to have a very good time. The scorpions do come in, but the destroyers have already done their job, and this is where Percival should absolutely just win out the fight, and that's going to be good enough. As Percival was even going to tier 3 tech, by the way. He was getting advanced blink online, but he just won before he got there. GG.
Says, alright, you kill a couple of my workers. I just keep on killing scorpions up to the point where we've got a crazy number advantage when it came to our tier 1 units. And then if we're working with a somewhat similar tier 2 setup, I can take care of those king crabs, and then your destroyers are no longer scary. Well done. It was strong. He just did a great job in maintaining a very high blink count. Lost a couple here and there, but never really reached the tipping point. I felt like Albino maybe could have done a slightly better job in splitting up the scorpions once or twice in the center base. But overall, I didn't even hate a lot of the run-bys that he went for. I thought it was good. It's just the king crabs, building that many king crabs against somebody who also has destroyers. I almost feel like 0 king crabs is the right number of king crabs against somebody with destroyers. Or maybe the king crab run by Rotti, but in a straight-up fight, they just do nothing. And they're so expensive.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Just they cost so much, you can't afford to lose them. That's a tough one.
2-1 Percival, 2-1 for the challenger.
Challenge is back on top, man. Looking to tie it up if Percival wins this. Oof.
That's okay. We've got Mana next. Mana as a gamer.
Hey, we've got Mana, but then you've got me and you, bro.
We are gamers too, Rotti. Alright, once more, tiny bit of expensive chicken. In the end, it is Albino who drops the expand first, and Percival says, alright, if you go 1 base expand, I'll go 1 base expand, and we will just take it from there.
Well, we get our setup underway.
We've got mortars back by Albino, by the way. Mortar destroyers, so no more king crab. He says, alright, if you make destroyers, my king crabs are useless, and he ain't wrong.
Yep, that was very well noted, as we do see those blinks splitting up and looking for the first bits of action. Our first scorpions trying to put some work in, trying to find something to get done as we go moving about and seeing if there's anything to be gained here.
I like how, first of all, just sneaks in like 1 or 2 scorpions himself. I feel like it's not really even to tank, it's not to deal damage. It is just for some extra map vision, where he would rather keep his blinks together, but it's nice to split the scorpions up a little bit. He does end up losing a blink in there. It's a tiny bit adventurous sometimes with these forward blinks. The forward blink is awesome, but they've got very, very tiny range for a scorpion. Run-by is already a fact on the other side of the map. Albino off to a good start here in game 3. 4,
yeah,
excuse me.
yeah, the scorpions is going to get straight on top of these workers, and we've seen this before. And, well, this is brutal. Half your natural already not mining now. And there's still more workers that are going to go down before this is cleaned up. At least one more. We didn't quite get the second one I thought might fall, as we are still chasing blinks through the center. And some of those blinks are hurting as well. So it's starting to feel pretty rough.
Yep, I want to say a bit of a nightmare game so far for Percival. Who does have a supply advantage, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot if you're not mining as much. He's going for the advanced recalls and dragonflies. I mean, Albino might struggle a little bit with dragonflies because the only thing he can build are hornets. The thing is just that there's no money for Percival. How many dragonflies can he build? 4 or 5? Alright, one time that's going to have a bit of an impact. But you basically need to win the game with those immediately, and I don't know if that's ever going to work. First hornet's already out on the map.
No, hornets out, and advanced recalls don't work here because advanced recalls do not answer the mortars at all. Nope. So that's a problem as well. What
are we doing? We are going to build 5 dragonflies at this point. And I feel like this is Albino's game. He doesn't even really need to be pushing right now with the mortars. I don't hate the fact that he does. Maybe he's just going to try to make it impossible for his opponent. Now his own workers though are going to struggle. And he left 2 mortars behind there as well. The mortars are not sieged up, Rotti, in the natural. In the end they will siege and they still get some good shots off.
Yeah, just a little bit of a shame because they maybe could have been a little bit better positioned. But here we do have the Hornets versus the Dragonflies starting to kick off as well. And it's going to be our next real talking point here. As if we reinforce with more Hornets, they do get across the map extremely quickly. That is one of the benefits of them. And as you just see, the Dragonflies trying to find some corners, trying to find some ways in. We have the units going to come in from the upper left-hand side. They're going to start making their move. Here we go. Last couple more is going to get sieges. Percival feels like he just has to go right now, and he probably is not wrong, but the Dragonflies are dying. The Mortars are holding their ground. A few more dragonflies, sure, but more hornets as well, and I don't think those dragonflies will ever be enough.
And this is where it's so nice if your tier 1 NTR's Hornets, right? Because even if you're all the way on the other side of the map, close to the core of your opponent, Hornets are so freaking quick, just like Wasp. If you want to say that the reinforcements should always show up in time, and they are obviously relatively cheap as well. You look at the minimap now, even the 2 mortars that Albino left behind earlier to deal with run-bys have successfully made it to the other side of the map. We've got a mega competitive best of 7 on our hands here, as it does seem that Albino is going to win game 4, unless we somehow lose all of our NTR, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think this is Albino tying things up after 4 games, Rotti.
Yep, gonna get to 2-2. Love it. It's gonna be our closest series of the day already, right?
Yes, I don't think we've had a single 2-2.
It's been, we had a 4-0, 4-1, 4-1.
That is correct.
So far. So yeah, finally gonna get something that will go a little bit further on.
It could not be more even right now between the challengers and the cast races.
Could not be more even. We are up a series though.
I actually have no idea who... Yeah, that's correct, sorry. We are still 2-1, but this one is 2-2. So if it would go 2-2 overall, that's kind of what I was thinking of. What did I want to say? We've got Mana. Mana is strong. And I still believe in you, Wadi. I don't know. I feel like you're underselling yourself a little. You have been a die-hard Battle Ace gamer since the very first moment you sat down behind the computer and I saw you make your way through the computer, the AI opponent with your Krabbies, and you looked over at me and you said, I like it. And you were a gamer immediately.
Yeah, I was playing a lot when we were in LA, that's for sure.
You had that sparkle in your eye, Wadi.
Yeah. No, when I sit down and start playing, I definitely get into it. I played a lot with Parton. I probably played like 200 games with Parton as well in Alpha.
Yeah, that was very fun in the beginning, but that became a lot less fun immediately.
My win rate has definitely gone down over time.
It was so fun to play a brand new game with Clem. And Clem was like, you want to play custom games? And I win one and he wins one. It was very fun. And then 3 hours later, he's like, you want to play custom games? And he wins 7 in a row. And I'm like, fuck you, Clem. Like, just leave me alone. I am done. I enjoyed this a lot more when it was back and forth.
Yeah, things really changed very quickly, didn't they? These guys pick up on stuff so fast, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then you have like a little trick that you can use once and you get a W and you're like, oh, I'm so happy. But then they do it 2, 3 more times and yeah, they're obviously familiar with all your 1-base, 2-base tricks. And at that point, you're just going to have to outplay them, and that's where it becomes difficult. Percival still being very, very aggressive, and I almost want to say, has he not learned his lesson yet? Because those Scorpions are already waiting. Does he really think these are all the Scorpions of Albino? It's never that easy, Percival. You should know that the Scorpions are going to run into his natural. I feel like this is an exact repeat of game 3, game 4.
Yeah, I mean, this just keeps happening. You just lose so many workers so quickly. And these workers so early in the game are so valuable, right? The earlier you lose them, the worse off it feels. You've had less use out of this base, and I mean, this is worse damage than the last game. I believe we've killed even more workers this time. This is 7 dead.
7 dead workers on a 2-base against a 2-base scenario. As Albino, by the way, has said goodbye to the Mortar, even though he won with Mortars in game 4. He's gone King Crab and a Destroyer, while Percival has gone Air this time around. Mammoth and Dragonflies. Normally I would say I'd love to see Dragonflies here, but how are you going to make Dragonflies when you've lost 7 workers of a 2-base setup?
Yeah, I mean, you're just never going to make enough where the Hornets can't just answer the Dragonflies. And Dragonflies aren't super sturdy on their own either, right? Like, they're not like a Falcon, which is a super sturdy kind of air unit. It's like a little bit more kind of versatile and kind of like a bit more movement focused, so I actually think the Hornets will just be able to match up against those Dragonflies very well, just as we saw previously. We're going to build Mammoths with a few Dragonflies. Okay, well, I mean, this is where the Destroyers are going to have their time to shine, because if they hit the Mammoths, they are going to do wonders.
I almost feel that Percival should not fight. He should indeed base trade a little. I think in a straight-up fight, Percival loses, but maybe if he makes the game very chaotic, if he can get on top of units like Destroyers. Look at this one. He's going to grab, I think, both of them here immediately. Is this just an all-out base trade of the very, very beginning?
Yep, and we're just diving for the base as well. We're not messing around here. Chase down a couple units in the main so they're not dealing damage and reducing your numbers, but then just get on top of that base, I think, is going to be the whole plan. Do we have money stacked up? Not really that much of it. Albino can maybe make a whole bunch of Scorpions to try and buy some time, even if they just get rid of a couple of units. We actually are not fully focused on the base right now. On the other side of the map, we actually do build a couple King Crabs to buy some time. Now we're going to click the base, and I think Albino just has the DPS to take the base out, and that's going to be good enough.
Yeah, having 2 Destroyers in the mix as well, that's actually always so much damage on the core. It's Albino who takes the 3-2 lead. And sure, this went very well for him, but I think it's actually the initial Scorpion run by that just gets the job done. It's supposed to be so hard to kill workers. If it's 2-base stack against 2-base stack, that's where it's really difficult in general to find damage. And Percival, I almost feel like it's just playing a little bit reckless. And I don't want to say he's not respecting his opponent, because clearly he is, but a bit of overconfidence, right? That he can always be out on the map, given any certain scenario, his starting unit, his opponent's starting unit, having like multiple games in a row where your natural is that wide open for the first 4 or 5 Scorpions to run in. I just think it's a little bit silly. For someone who's so high ranked, he should have learned his lesson by now, no?
I 100% agree. I can't believe these Scorpions are doing it's the fact it's just happening every game is kind of like when are we gonna stop letting that happen? Like, that shouldn't really be happening, but here we are. It's now going into game number 6, and surely this time we don't just have Scorpions running into the natural.
Like, the thing is as well, it's not that he's getting absolutely amazing freebies on the other side of the map, because Albino is always microing his Scorpions. So even when he's lacking a few defensive Scorpions, because he's thinking of that run by already, he's still doing such a good job in dancing back and forth, in and out of range. And every time Percival blinks forward, he turns around with the Scorpions immediately, gets a couple hits off. Once Blink is ready again, he runs away. Like, I think Albino is handling this perfectly. And yeah, I'm a little bit shocked. I feel like this could happen once, right? Where if you're Percival, you're out on the map, you're looking to trade, favorable trades for you because you've got the range units, and you're like, oh, damn it, he surprised me. But this has happened multiple games now in this best of 7. And it should not be that easy to kill 7 workers in a 2-base against 2-base setup.
Alright, well, let's kick off into it as we have our mortars back available again from Albinos. This time he has King Crab Mortar again. He actually has Stingers available on the Starforge deck. He's not had Stingers all the time, right? He's been mixing up his availability there, so
I don't think
interesting.
I don't think so. Percival switching it up as well. No more Mammoths. He has gone Airship and Dragonfly this time around.
Yeah, that's interesting too. So maybe some. I wonder why the Airship over the Mammoths. I feel like the Mammoths had a better place in the deck based on what we've been seeing.
Not certain. What I do know is that the Scorpions are taking a very solid initial fight. Their first blink goes down, and 2 of the other blinks are already kind of low on HP. 2-base stack coming out of Albino as we have a forward blink here by Percival. Needs to be careful. I bet he's regretting that. I don't really care about NA or Korea server thing by now, because I kind of feel like having ping advantage in these skirmishes would have been pretty nice for him.
Well, that tech is coming online. We're going to play ground on ground for the moment. No one's going to see that Starforge tech here in this game 6 unless something crazy goes on.
Ground against ground, I definitely favor the Mortar here. I feel like the Mortar absolutely has a place to shine, but perhaps Percival can find a way, as he does have way more units left behind in his natural. Losing a couple of your blinks sucks, but that's a lot better than losing 7 workers. Workers, however, will be attacked again, and it just takes a little while. The blinks are so good, but they don't have that crazy DPS where you just shoot down all these Scorpions. And it's Albino who gets perhaps the best start of the entire best of 7 Rotti. Every single worker in the natural is gone.
And now we're going to lose some in the main base as well. Scorpions just run in and do some work, and I mean, the blinks just have to be super proactive to not let units like this get into the positions like that, right? And I think this was just Percival getting a little bit over eager with his positioning. Sometimes he's trying to go snipers, by the way, which
I like that, but
yeah, amazing if you survive that long, but I don't even know if his natural lives that long.
I don't know either, but I still think it's a good choice, because staying on tier 2 I think means that he always loses. But he's gonna have a really, really hard time making his way through these king crabs, man. We could maybe sneak out a couple of defensive destroyers to buy some time. We have 1 destroyer as a flank. We've got a shocker in the mix as well. Good job by Albino leaving one of the mortars siege. Initial good shots here. Can we take out the mortars? Yes, Rotti. Wow, this is great defense so far by Percival. I'm not saying he's there yet, but this was fantastic.
Great start, just gets a good fight where the mortars are not quite in position. Takes them a very long time to get across all the way to the right side up this avenue. And that is the issue there. We do see a new round of King Crabs on the way, as we do see these mortars going to try and hold their own. It would be amazing if we could get rid of the destroyers for the King Crabs that are on the way. Then they would have such a better time.
We've got snipes. First snipers are out. And this is where the mortars are going to have a very, very hard time looking anywhere near as good. What will Albino do? He's going to unsiege immediately. He's going to try to go home. At least 1 more mortar, I think, will get picked off. 1 hit is all it takes. A single blink forward. 1 hit then. Alright, we get it. Sick hold by Percival, man. What a choice by him to fire up tier 3 immediately, even though he lost all 16 workers in his natural.
Yeah, that's I can't believe he lost so many workers and now it's so competitive. That was such a good fight for him, and affording the tech on the way, that's what's crazy about it, right? Like, he afforded tech, which is not easy to do in these situations. Wow. And now he has snipers, and do we have a good answer to snipers? Well, we're just going to spam King Crabs, but then destroyers are going to be very good as well.
Actually, man, Percival should chill, because his opponent has just double, triple down. Oh, he goes up to 3 bases. Isn't that wild? I feel like pure King Crab right now. If you absolutely send it, you get a good engagement. A couple of King Crabbies from the top and a lot of them from the bottom, some from the center. This is it. Albino for the W. If he wins this fight, he wins the best of 7, Wardy.
There we go. The destroyers just keep pulling back. They will continue to hit the King Crabs. Finally, one destroyer goes down. There's still another full HP. A new one just shows up. The King Crabs are melting. And it's absolutely Percival that is going to hold on. And can he defend the 3rd base along with it? That might be asking for a little bit too much. But I mean, he's going to be in a great position no matter what, because he's just cleaned up so many units. Still has the tier 3 tech available to him. And obviously has the freedom to maybe even just re-expand. There's a lot of money that Albino hasn't spent. I think he's figuring out what he wants to try and build next.
Every single time I see a destroyer one-shot a King Crab, I shake a little. I feel like I have to sneeze, and like that's a lot. Albino decides to go for tier 2 Starforge, which I think is smart, because on the ground he ain't winning this anymore. His opponent already having tier 3 snipers available. I mean, defending here and buying all that time until Starforge tech comes online seems a little bit crazy. What an insanely good hold earlier by Percival. What I really loved is how he split up his army. He forced one of the mortars to siege up in the center. Then he turned everything around, and he just did a great job in bouncing on those mortars when they weren't really sieged up yet. And he bought enough time for tier 3 to come online and the first snipers to come out. Awesome play. Really, really, really good play.
Blinks are going to go back onto this base, and we are just going to be able to pretty much finish that off, so that's obviously amazing. Way less income available now, and we are going to get ourselves all the way to Game 7, aren't we?
Everybody loves Game 7. We only had a single Game 7 yesterday. It's been a fantastic series between Albino and Percival. Stingers are shining here, by the way, but obviously it's 1 base. I don't know about 1 base Stinger really making the difference, but an amazing fight here by Albino.
Great fight. I mean, the question is there an answer to Stingers? I mean, I feel like
Shockers are not too bad.
Yeah, I think the Shockers are fine. It's just a question of actually being able to get enough stuff up and available. Suddenly, Albino actually has a 30 supply lead. That was just a very good fight for him. But obviously, he has to go. There's no slowing down. There's no stopping. And if there's any amount of splash that hits all at once, it could just be deadly. So I think you just build as many shockers as possible.
I kind of feel like just defend a little bit in your main. As long as you don't lose your shockers immediately here, first of all, you're going to be fine. He's going to blink forward, trying to protect his shockers. He's getting big hits off. I want to say defender's advantage is good enough here, Wardy. He is, however, going to lose all his workers in the natural, but then it's still 2 bases against 1. Even if you don't have any workers, it's still 2 base against 1. But this is maybe where building a couple airships, as silly as that may sound, could actually be a play. Just to have, I guess... First of all, can make a blink contest. I wouldn't go for airships. I don't know what I would go for. Like, this is good, but you're still in a very awkward spot. If you're Percival, maybe sneak that. He has 1 mortar, by the way, left behind. It should be if you're Albino, because he's still down a base, and we are like 20 seconds away from Percival having a full 1 base economy advantage.
Yeah, I think this is the time you just go against it and hope that these Stingers and Scorpions are good enough composition. And Mortar was just in defensive on the main before, now gets picked off as... Well, here come the Stingers. Got to be very careful against those shockers. If the shockers get 2 good shots, they will just be very, very okay here. And I think the shocker shots are absolutely turning into a good enough situation. That's going to be the defense, and that's going to be game. We're going to Game 7.
That was tough for Albino because he took a great fight at home, but he lost his expense. So he was a 1 base player. And the counterattack was great, but eventually it's just too difficult to run into all those shockers. So much splash damage coming out of them. Percival with a great hold on his side of the map, and even if you lost all the workers, losing your workers suck, but your opponent is still on the clock because they've got 1 minute where it's like, okay, now it's even, and after a minute it's no longer even. It's 2 bases against 1 again. What a great series, Wardy. Game 7, I love it.
I love it. I'm getting to Game 7. Gonna get one of these series that will go the full distance. And we're gonna get ourselves into this, and we'll see what the final choices are gonna be in this series.
We have definitely swapped the decks around quite a bit in between these games.
Yep, they've not been afraid to switch. It's not been like the biggest changes, but it's definitely been like constant changes. Every game has been something slightly different at the very least.
Will it be Albino for the caster aces, who is going to give us a 3-1 lead over the challengers, or will it be Percival for the challengers to perfectly tie things up? I mean, I know I'm supposed to be rooting for Albino, but it's actually kind of fun to see it be that even 2-2 as we head into our 5th best of 7 after this. So, I don't know, Rotti. I feel like we always win here.
We win any which way. All right, let's go. Let's do see our first few Scorpions pop in immediately. So Scorpions before we play an expansion. And we expand.
Yeah, you waited quite a bit. If I was Albino, I'd be happy. I'd be like, nice, economic advantage. I love it.
Stingers stay there. Falcon's actually now available for Percival.
Could be good actually to make Falcons, because Albino does seem very keen on playing 2-base stack and going King Crab Mortar. I feel like that is a perfect moment for Falcons to shine.
I think the problem is if you go Falcons and you go it before your opponent attacks, and then Albino just goes his own air tech, I think he can just be absolutely fine just taking straight to Valkyries, and the Stingers trade very well as we saw against the Blinks, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. It kind of depends on who techs what first, right? And now we're at this point where we're kind of waiting to see what tech it is on both sides.
3-base against 3-base. That should actually favor Scorpions. If you play it well, and we've seen Albino play this very well throughout the best of 7. If you just go for run-bys everywhere at one point, it should become too much. But obviously, there's always scary, right? That you just lose a few too many Scorpions, and then your opponent comes out with a 30 supply lead. This is very exciting, Rotti. Because I feel like they're both making the correct call, and now it just comes down to execution.
Important from Percival, by the way. So he switched up what he's actually building, because he had Blink Scorpion for a lot of this series as well. He is in position, by the way. He's finally learned his lesson about these Scorpions in the natural, but now these Scorpions, they could actually come for us around on the 3rd. No, they're going to go to the natural, and actually the units of Percival have gone to the 3rd, so he's actually going to be out of position completely, and once more Albino is going to find himself damaged on the natural. Unbelievable, man.
Yep, he's going to find at least 6, make it 7 or 8. And don't forget, he's also taking a decent fight in the center. He's actually killed quite a few of these Blinks. Like, I don't even think this was truly a mistake by Percival, because now he has to worry about 3 bases, right? He doesn't just have to worry about his natural. If you lose all those workers in 2-base against 2-base, I think it's a bit silly. But if you're playing 3-base, I think it can happen, because obviously Scorpions are going to run everywhere. If we look at the supply right now, though, to go full Johan Merlo, it is 50 supply of Blinks, only 29 supply of Scorpions. This is where maybe the Blinks can take out the center base of Albino, and this might still turn into an advantage for Percival.
Yeah, because then if he can build enough Falcons and there's not enough anti-air Hornets, then perhaps we are just going to be good enough as we go to see these Blinks fighting the Scorpions. Honestly, not looking good enough, not even getting half a surround there as they just get turned away once more. This is looking better and better. He's taking a bit more damage. Our Scorpion's still trying to chase in. The Blink's going to blink in after the Scorpions once again to push them back. That space is dead. It's gone.
Yeah, they're actually sick play by Percival, man. He really microed well there on 2 different locations. And yes, he lost a bunch of workers, but his opponent threw like 50 supply of Scorpions at him. And Albino goes ham on the Dragonflies immediately. And now I think, yeah, we have already scouted it, so we can just go ham on the airships. I feel like Albino's in all sorts of trouble. He needs to outmaneuver the airships, but they're already being revealed by all the Blinks over here in the bottom. And Dragonflies are not going to beat airships in a straight-up fight.
No, but that's why this one Blink was so good. Scouting what was built on that main base is huge. Obviously, you get a lot of free information in Battle Aces, but that's one of the perfect examples of how that scouting can still be very impactful, because immediately he could build airships. He was already ready for the Dragonflies. That's massive, and now we take this fight, and it's going to be difficult to imagine that this is going to end up going super great on the side of Albino, who is down, and I think half the supply. Now some Falcons showing up as well. You still have the airships to clean out the Dragonflies if they really do try and show up. Hornets are going to get cleaned up by the Blinks. 3rd base going down. It looks like Percival has got a 4-3 victory.
Great play by Percival. That was actually very well done. Once or twice throughout the series, it felt like he was a tiny bit stubborn, where it's like, oh, come on, mate. It's 2-base against 2-base. You shouldn't be losing that many workers. But here in the 3-base against 3-base setup, before either player decided to tack up, to be microing your Blink so well, reinforced immediately. Yeah, he lost like 8 workers or so, but he took out a solid 30, if not more, Scorpions for it. And he just came out with a big advantage, took all the momentum to his side, immediately pushed through the center. Well-deserved victory in the end. That was a really fun, high-level best of 7.